And I'd like to welcome Speaker Robert DeLeo to the podium.
Thank you, Governor. I'm going to be exceedingly brief because I'm going to, believe it or not, yield my time to another member of the House here today, which doesn't happen too often, but I decided I am going to do that. And first of all, I'd like to add my condolences also, as so well stated by the Governor. But I'm so pleased to be here on what I consider to be a turning point for our Commonwealth. The legislation that we will be, the Governor is going to be signing here today will make a profound difference in the lives of so many individuals and families. It will make our criminal justice system significantly more equitable while enhancing public safety through a series of workable, real-world solutions. I'm grateful to the work done by both the members of the House and the Senate, in particular the Conference Committee, led by Chairlady Cronin, Leader Mariano, and Representative Harrington. And also, in addition to that, also the conferees of the Senate, Senator Brownsberger, Senator Cream, and Senator Tarr. I also want to recognize Chief Justice Roderick Island, who helped guide the House through this process. In addition to that, I also want to thank the Attorney General for her advice throughout this process as well. I had intended to recognize all the members of the House and Senate here today, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. But I'm particularly proud to introduce our House Chair of Judiciary, Claire Cronin. She did an amazing job in bringing people together and negotiating. She showed an immense amount of intellect and insight and deserves so much for her leadership on this ground-breaking bill. And that's why, and I also want to thank her for taking my numerous calls to check on the progress of the legislation. And it's with that, I yield my time to the chair lady of the Committee on the Judiciary, Claire Cronin.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It is my sincere honor and privilege to be here today. Today is a momentous occasion. It is not lost on me that last week, when this final compromise piece of legislation was voted on in both the House and Senate, it was on the 50th anniversary of the assassination of the great Dr. King. And on that day, 50 years ago, hopes were crushed, dreams were shattered. And I am proud to say that today, 50 years later, those same hopes and dreams are being realized in the State House as we sign this very momentous piece of legislation. This is a big bill. It does a lot, and it can't get done without the work of many, many, many people. So as I go forward, if you can indulge me in a few thank yous, because there are so many people who have contributed so much to this process. They put their heart and soul into ensuring that we have a bill that is balanced, that it's fair, that it's just, that it protects our most vulnerable citizens, but at the same time, it adheres to the concept that we must provide public safety and look out for our victims as well. And I think we've done a very good job at doing that. Back when we began this process, there was a narrative out there, and I kept hearing it over and over again. I would meet with people and they would say, the CSG bill is not enough and we have to do more. But they would also say, but we don't think you're going to do more. Mm-hmm. And as much as the fact that I would explain to people that I started my summer mornings every morning with a cup of coffee and a stack of reading materials on criminal justice, no one would seem to believe us that we were actually going to get this done. So as part of that, I think there is one person who probably hasn't received the credit that is due to him on this, and that is the Speaker of the House. He said very early on that we were going to do criminal justice reform, He is a man of his word. He kept his promise, and he guided us throughout the process to ensure that the bill that we had reflected what are his priorities. It reflected a care for public safety, a concern for our vulnerable citizens. It was equitable. It was fair. All of the things that he held dear. And his support throughout this process, I believe, was very instrumental in us achieving that outcome. So thank you, Mr. Speaker. To every member of the House, we worked hard, we worked together. It was truly, truly an effort that reflected all of our shared priorities. I want to give a special shout out to my conferees, Lita Mariano, and where is Representative Sheila Harrington, who is the ranking minority member on the Judiciary Committee. We had fun, we worked hard, but at the end of the day, we were able to take two very broad, far-reaching and complex bills and reach an agreement. And it was done so because of the work of this team. Before I introduce my Senate co-chair, I have to give him a great big shout out as well, because working together with Senator Brownsberger, he has had a body of work for many, many years. This is nothing that is new to him, and he put his heart and soul into this great endeavor. It was my sincere pleasure to work together with him and bring this all to you. So with that, I will introduce my Senate co-chair and dear friend, Senator Will Brownsberger.
So this bill is about lifting people up instead of locking people up. It's about cutting the chains that hold people down when they're trying to get back up on their feet. And it's about protecting public safety, protecting the public from guns, from drugs, from violence. Essentially, everyone in politics shares these values, right? Everyone shares those values. We disagree passionately on how to accomplish those values, how to realize those values, and that's why the conversation continues. The conversation's gone on for years. It will go on after this bill, but it's gone on with special intensity over the past 3 years. It was brought to that level of intensity by the activism of so many people out across the state who felt strongly the need for change. And it was really teed up by Governor Baker, Speaker DeLeo, Senator Rosenberg, and Chief Justice Gantz through the CSG process, working with Chairman Fernandez, who we can't forget, who was here for that stage of the process. And Lon Povich, whose role, working through together all those details was very huge. So many members of the staff. And we got to a very solid piece of legislation that came out of the CSG process, which will give people in prison reasons to participate in programs and the opportunity to come out and be on supervision in the community and move towards positive engagement. Protect the public from recidivism. At the end of that process, part of it was that promise to do more. And I think, as it turns out, we've done more than anybody hoped, or that I hoped. I'm delighted by how far we came. We've come further than I possibly could have imagined, and that's something that we in the legislature have all done together, working together. Claire Cronin, wonderful partner, and all of my colleagues in the legislature, the other conferees, of course. But as I look at this bill, if you look at it piece by piece, layer by layer, there are contributions from so many people and then the dialogue that everybody else participated in shaped. We're going too far here. We're not doing enough there. This is a mistake. Everybody participated in this process. So this is something that's woven together through the legislature in the right kind of public process. It's been a very, very transparent public process with huge participation from advocates, from professionals in the system and from so many people actually affected living the criminal justice system, former inmates, people on probation, parole, dealing with the whole experience. But today is your day, Governor. This is where you weigh in. And I want to say how grateful I am to you for choosing to be a voice for change. I know that I know you share our values. I share all those values. Share those goals. You do. We do. We all, and I'm not saying this isn't one of those "you're a Democrat" jokes. No. I'm not. I got that. I know we disagree. I know we disagree on a whole lot of specifics, but the goals are there. Lift people up instead of locking them up. Make it possible for them to get back up on their feet when they make mistakes, and protect the public. Those goals are all shared, and I know that as going forward, you have strong disagreements with some features of this bill, large and small. The thing I want to emphasize is that as we live into these reforms, we will continue to work with you. We will continue to work with every member of the criminal justice process, from the police to the judges to the probation officers to the prosecutors to the defense attorneys, and again, keep listening to the people who are most affected, so that as we live into this process, we can make the changes we need to make the adjustments we need to make, and stand behind this process with the funding and the programming that we need to make it work. We know we need to do those things, and I'm very personally committed to do it. And I'm so grateful to everybody standing here behind me and everybody who's been part of this process to get to this. And thank you again, Governor, for bringing us to this desk today.